Hi, Stephanie. I believe you're the first one. Welcome. You're the early one. We're going to wait and start right at 7:30. So if you're early, you can go ahead and just, I'd like to do a sound check. So if you can hear me, please let me know in the chat box. And let me know where you're watching from, please. Welcome to those who are joining us. We have 4 minutes to start. Welcome everyone. If you just joined us, please go ahead and let me know in the chat box where you're watching from. And also what, how do you call this? What would you like to learn tonight? Thank you. And you can choose to send it to everybody or just to me. I'm the admin there. I'm not sure exactly what you're seeing on your end, but I see an option to send to everybody or just to one person. We have 2 minutes to start. All right, Stephanie. Wow. Georgia. Awesome. We have 2 more minutes. Welcome. And 1 more minute. Stephanie, can you please let me know if you can hear me? And then I'm also going to switch to share my screen as well. Obviously you can because you responded. I'm also going to share my screen. Welcome, Daisy, and some other people. I'm going to share my screen shortly, and I'd like feedback before we start, just to make sure that it's showing. My slides are showing. All right, one more minute. Right. I'm gonna go. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. Sorry, I'm picking on you today. So I'm gonna switch to my entire screen, and I'm gonna switch to the PowerPoint. So if you can, if anyone there can let me know if you can see the slides, then we can get started. Oh, I keep switching. All right, Stephanie, if you let me know, please, if you can see my slides, then we can get started. All right, thank you so much. I know there's like a little delay there when it comes to the typing. Awesome. Okay, we'll get started. Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for spending your Tuesday night with me, Anna Dornier, aka the Sugar Rebel. So this is the Better Fat Burning, Better Fat Burning webinar. Just so you know that you're in the right place. Basically, I'm going to walk you through how you can really burn fat for energy and access any stored body fat. And as far as questions, I can't see the chat box right now because my slides are on full screen. So if you have any questions and you don't want to forget, you can type it in the chat box and I'll answer all of them at the end. So real quick, as far as who I am, if you haven't really connected with me outside of the Sugar Rebel page, or you haven't worked previously with me, again, I'm Anna Dornier. I'm the founder of Transform FX Fitness Bootcamp. Our original location was in Concord, but we're now in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and also in Houston, Texas. So just kind of letting you know that this is not my first rodeo. We've helped thousands and thousands of people transform their bodies. And I have been in the fitness industry as my career since 2009. So real quick about kind of my journey to this program in particular. I gave birth to our second child, Isabella, about a little over a year ago, October of 2015. So by that time, towards the end of my pregnancy, I was starting to feel knee pain. And obviously I had some weight to lose from the baby and the pregnancy. And on top of that, I feel like I'm just always ravenous. Like I always feel like I have to eat something. And so obviously it's going to be hard to lose weight if you're constantly eating, right? So this kind of led me to finding something different than what I have been used to as far as my way of life. I used to eat a low carb, high protein meal plan. And so I switched to this meal plan, and I noticed a lot of benefits. So obviously, the weight loss is there, or as I like to call it, fat loss, because I like to focus on losing fat and not muscle. So I lost 49 pounds of fat in a matter of 4 months. I also greatly reduced my hunger and sugar cravings. When Isabella was still a newborn, obviously I would still wake up at night and I would be sleep deprived. So when I did wake up, I would constantly be just ravenous and I had to eat something. And even during the day, when I'm well rested, Even though I was eating like every 2 to 3 hours, I was still hungry. So it's like nothing would satisfy it. So switching to this meal plan has greatly reduced that hunger and my sugar cravings. I also had gestational diabetes when I was pregnant with Isabella. And so I didn't want to make that a permanent part of my life as far as type 2 diabetes. So I wanted to completely reverse that. And this meal plan, I believe, helped with all of that. I don't have any more knee pain. In fact, I'm pain free. I used to have a pain on my upper back as well. That's also now completely gone. No more knee pain. I'm able to maintain and actually lose more fat and add muscle just eating 2 to 3 meals a day. So that's a huge deal for me, because I used to eat 5 to 6 meals a day and still be hungry. But now, I have more freedom. I have more time and not eating as often, because now I can control it with just 2 to 3 meals and I'm all set. I also have energy all day, which I didn't have before. Usually we'll have that afternoon lull after you eat your lunch. You're sitting in front of your computer and it's like, you just feel tired. So I have energy all day. I pop up out of bed I'm so refreshed. So anyway, it's just amazing, just the change in me, in my life. And we have been doing this program. I've been working with groups, and this is going to be the fourth time that we're doing this. And most of them see similar results as I did. And this is why, this movement is growing. So our lifestyle right now is basically majority of us are on at least one medication. Most people that I work with are on way too many. So I'll pull up a picture here. This is actually the picture that you see on the right. It's a typical number of medications that we see our clients taking. Why? Because when they're taking a couple of medications, those medications have side effects. So now they take more medications to mask those side effects. As a result, we're getting more and more sick as a society. And if we don't do anything about it, we're going to get more dependent on healthcare and health insurance. And, this is not the way to live. And I'm a firm believer that poor health and fitness is keeping us in bondage. Not only that, we're also not as active as we used to. We used to roam and, search for food and hunt for food. We're not that anymore. So we don't have that active lifestyle. And if we don't do anything about it, basically we're just going to get sick, and we're just going to be dependent on those insurance companies. So why things are the way they are, and this is just from my observation, and also some research. The sugar industry really lied to us back in the 1950s. They made this huge propaganda that they said that sugar is good for you and that fat is the enemy. They backed it up with manipulated data as far as research. And they did that for a long time and they got away with it. But I think that a lot of people are now realizing that that's not the case. There's a lot of people that are finding more and more that actually a high-fat diet works very well for them, agrees with their metabolism and everything. Also, we quit when we try a new diet or fitness regimen because we don't see immediate results, so we get discouraged. Or sometimes life just happens, right? We get too busy. We just eat what's available or convenient. So as like the picture here, this is a typical thing you will see at a buffet is lots of carbs, very minimal protein, not much fat. And if you walk through like a convenience store, it's the same thing. You'll see carbs everywhere if you start to pay attention. And we grab carbs because that's easy and convenient, but is that what we really need? If you have probably turned to carbs for food or meal before, you'll find that it may give you that initial burst of energy, but then after 15-30 minutes, like you have that kind of drop in energy again. So it's not sustainable. The truth is, by the time we hit age 30, our bodies cannot process carbs efficiently anymore. This is why a lot of people, they tend to have a weight issue or a weight gain issue once they hit the age 30, and it kind of, goes down from there. Most people would tell me. Most of us know we can have a better quality of life, but we've just allowed ourselves to get caught up in our busy lives, taking care of others. I'm definitely one situation like that where, I have 2 kids, I have to take care of the household, obviously my spouse as well. And sometimes if we just get caught up and we don't pay attention, we stop taking care of ourselves. When I find out that once I take care of myself better, then I can take care of others much better as well. So there's really a better way. You can use fat for energy. You don't have to count calories. You can have better hormone balance. You can have reduced hunger and appetite, especially those cravings for carbs. And you can have endless energy and not have, feel like you're groggy all day, and you need a cup of coffee 5 times a day. You can have clearer skin and much more. But before I move on to the main content portion of the presentation, I just want to give you a quick warning that what you're about to learn today, it will probably be against what your doctor has said to you, or if you've done our 6-week challenge, it will be a little bit different than that. If you've learned some things from the media, it's going to be a little bit different from what you'll hear. It's not widely accepted, but I know a lot of people who has been doing this for 20, 30 years, and this is their lifestyle, and they just feel amazing, and they look young, and they're lean. And yeah, they're just enjoying really a vitality that a lot of the people that this is missing out on. So the ketogenic diet, also known as fat adapted, is basically a high fat, moderate protein, and low carb. So if you're thinking of the standard American diet, where basically carbs are at the bottom of the pyramid and proteins, and then you have the fat at the top, you're basically just flipping that pyramid and putting the fat in the bottom, moderate proteins in the middle, and then a very, very small amount of carbs at the top. So about 65% to 80% of your calorie intake will be coming from fat, which is awesome because fat is tasty. It provides the yumminess factor of foods. Minimize protein intake to, if you're eating 120 grams right now, or 4 ounces of chicken breast every meal 5 times in a day, you're gonna most likely decrease that by half, so maybe 2 ounces or something like that. And I'll go over in more detail about that. And then most of your carbs will be coming from green leafy vegetables. So, obviously no starchy carbohydrates. And then there's this concept of ketones being the 4th macronutrient. So if you don't know what that is, I'm about to explain it to you right now. So you have your protein, your carbs, and your fat as your top 3 macronutrients. And now, once you switch your body from being carb adapted, meaning you're burning carbs, which most of us are, to now being fat adapted, your body's making ketones. So basically, your body can use ketones for energy. So you can see it as just a 4th macronutrient in addition to protein, carbs, and fat. So this is what happens. Normally, if you rely on carbs and protein and fats for energy, it will be hard for us to convert any stored body fat for energy. And this is why on the ketogenic diet, you have to lower your carb enough and moderate your protein enough to where your body is going to see, oh, I don't have as much carbs, I don't have as much protein available, but I have fat available. Now your body will naturally use fat for energy. And when that gets converted into energy, it makes ketones. So this is kind of like a quick diagram. If you just, let's say, then have food for like 8 hours or 12 hours because you went to, you slept or whatever, or you skipped a couple of meals for a few days or whatever, your body is going to dig in to your fat cells, your stored body fat from your belly, from your thighs, and then it gets broken down into fatty acids, which are basically just smaller molecules of fats, and then those fatty acids then get converted in your liver into ketones, and then these ketones now go into your bloodstream, and it can be used by any cell in your body. Actually, research is finding out now that muscles, your heart muscle, your brain cells, they actually like ketones much better than carbs. And this is how I know that we're actually designed to burn that fat for energy and not be carb burners. And that's huge, and you'll find out it will come together as I go through the whole slides. So when your ketones coming from either your dietary fat, which is fat from your food, or fat from fat cells, when they get converted into ketones, and there's 3 different molecules of ketones that exist in our body, but I'm not going to go through what each one is. But basically, once those ketones are available, your muscles can use it, your heart can use it, your brain can use it. Basically, you'll have another source of energy. And that's very important once you understand how insulin works. So basically, entering a state of ketosis just means that your body is now burning either, again, your stored body fat or fat from your diet, or both, okay? So as in my years of working with the general population, the typical people that I work with are probably in the age of, 30 to about 55. So the thing that I'm seeing as far as what's causing their health and weight problems is, number one is nutrient deficiency. So if you're not supplementing with a high quality supplement, most likely your cells are not getting the nutrients that they need. And they're also not, how do you call this? They're not able to utilize glucose, especially once you have insulin resistance. So it's kind of like a double whammy, if you want to think about this. If you're over the age of 30, at some point you start to experience some kind of insulin resistance. And then because your cells can't use glucose for energy or carbs for energy anymore, your cells are not only deficient from carb energy, but also they're deficient from vitamins and minerals, which causes a whole havoc of problems with our health. So let's talk about insulin real quick. A lot of doctors will refer, and researchers will refer to insulin as the master hormone, and this is why. So let's just kind of discuss how insulin works. So imagine this is a cell. Each cell has an insulin receptor, and insulin, when it's present in the body, it acts like a key to unlock the cell, and it opens up this glucose channel. Okay, so basically, once insulin is there and your cell can accept that key, then you can use glucose for energy. But what happens with people who are insulin resistant, and I'll talk a little bit more about this, is that they don't get to access those carbs. So let me just back up real quick. The amount of weight or fat that we gain is directly correlated to the amount of insulin we produce over a lifetime. And this is why. Okay, so this quick diagram shows that if you eat carbs, not just bad carbs, but really any type of carbs where it raises your sugar levels, your pancreas are going to secrete insulin. But if you have some sort of insulin resistance, then that lock is not going to accept that key, which is insulin. So then that means that any leftover glucose or carbs in your blood will now be stored as as fat. And then because your cells weren't able to access those carbs or glucose for energy, you're just going to feel tired and hungry. And then you're going to kind of repeat that cycle, and it becomes a vicious cycle, right? And this is why the amount of insulin we produce is directly correlated to how much weight we gain. So that means that if you're constantly producing insulin and your cells are basically just, they're tired of insulin knocking on their door, they're ignoring insulin, any carbs that are present in your system will just be stored as body fat. So that's a problem as we age, right? And this is why we're seeing a lot of Alzheimer's, basically a lot of brain problems, because our cells can use carbs, but it can also use ketones. But if we're not fat adapted, we can't use the carbs for energy, right? So this is kind of like a parallel of what the two systems would look like. So on a traditional diet where you eat a lot of carbs, your glucose levels rise, your pancreas will secrete insulin, and then if your body is working as it should, that glucose can go into your cell, and then you get energy, right? But on the ketogenic diet, when ketones are actually present in your system, your blood sugar doesn't rise. It stays pretty much, even kill on average, which means there's no insulin response. And what's beautiful about ketones is that it doesn't need insulin to enter your cell. It doesn't need any key to enter your cell. It just gets in there, right? There's no knocking. There's no unlocking anything. So when you eat something during the ketogenic diet, your lipase releases stored triglycerides. Lipase is just an enzyme that breaks down fat. Those triglycerides or fatty acids get broken down even further in your liver, and then the fatty acids get converted into ketones, and that's how you can get energy. And again, you don't need insulin to use ketones, which is amazing. This is why a lot of people, when they get into ketosis right away, they feel a huge difference in, having more energy, not having more mental clarity, not being foggy anymore. And obviously the longer you do it, then the more fat you can burn, right, for energy. So this is kind of like a sample of a food list. So you have your meats, so you have your fatty cuts, is what you want to look for. So if you're using ground beef, you're going for 80-20 ground beef versus 96-4. If you're using pork, you're going to go for pork belly or pork chop with like the fat on it. Chicken, you're going to go for chicken thighs instead of chicken breast. Fish, you're going to go for salmon or fatty tuna or any kind of fatty fish like mackerel or whatever it is that you like. If you're eating eggs, you're going to eat eggs along with the whole yolk because it's fatty and it has a lot of healthy omega-3s, especially if you're eating grass-fed. And then obviously a lot of low-carb vegetables, high-fat fruits like avocado. And then dairy, full fat options, real grass-fed butter, high-fat cream, whipping cream, sour cream, yogurt, you name it, you can have it. High-fat cheeses. This is why this diet or meal plan doesn't make you miserable, because you're eating really, really good food. Nuts and seed, obviously, almonds, walnuts, all of those are high in healthy fats as well. You can have some root vegetables because they're high in not carbs, but fiber as well. On top of the carbs that's in there, it's mostly fiber. Some low carb fruits like berries, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, right? Alcohol, you can limit it to once or twice a week. I don't normally drink alcohol, but if I do, I'll just, have a glass or a couple of glasses of wine or, a really nice whiskey or something like that. But I don't do it that often. Dark chocolate, anything above 70% cocoa is good, because that means that there's not as much sugar in it. And obviously anything that's sugary, starchy, has sweet, highly processed is obviously bad, really, for any meal plan, I think. Processed oils you want to watch out for. They're not the same as like olive oil or coconut oil When I say processed oil, those are your margarine, cooking oils like vegetable oil, coconut oil, not coconut oil, canola oil, anything that's like in bulk at the grocery store means it's highly processed, and there's usually a lot of chemicals in it. And because those chemicals are in it, when you actually use any of those oils and you ingest it, it acts as if you ate a lot of carbs. So it actually triggers the insulin response as well. And obviously beer is full of carbs. Let me just clear this. So why do you want to become fat adapted? It has been from my experience and experiences of others that have done this program that the chronic diseases that they're experiencing, they're actually able to reverse the signs of it, not only just physically and how they feel, but they actually see it in the improvements in their numbers when they get their blood work done. And this is because grains and simple sugars are the main culprit in our weight problem in this country and actually in the world, and the prevalence of chronic diseases. Because when we are carb burners, we're always going to have a high and low blood sugar, which means that we're always triggering insulin production. And the more we trigger insulin production, the more inflammation we're going to have, and the more we're not able to access our stored body fat. And so this is why by switching your body to use fat for fuel, you can actually eliminate the root cause of chronic diseases and excess weight by reducing inflammation. You know, that's another way that you can target that, and that's actually the root cause. So if you can do that, then it will be amazing. You'll see amazing results. So if you're currently eating like a low carb or low carb, high protein meal plan, this is what you would definitely do. And if you want to switch to fat adapted, obviously. So instead of eating every 2 to 3 hours, you're going to eat when you're hungry. You're going to stop when you're full. And if, let's say, you're used to eating 4 ounces of chicken breast, you would want to switch that to 2 to 3 ounces of chicken thighs. Because again, you want to limit your protein, but you want to up the fat content. So chicken thighs would have more fat than chicken breast, and less protein. And then you can maybe add avocado and olive oil and a dressing to a salad or something like that. That's like a simple thing, just a simple kind of idea to start you with, right? And then, yeah, so I'll give you some examples as well. So again, being fat adapted, meaning that you're using ketone for energy and you're using fat for energy, means you're going to have more mental clarity and focus, because again, your brain can use ketones and now it's getting energy in there. Reduced appetite and reduced carb cravings, because now your cells are being powered by ketones. You don't need glucose anymore, right? Reduced fat, you're experiencing fat loss versus weight loss, because you're able to access your stored body fat now for energy. And it's not just sitting there and it's not guarded by carbs, because you don't have any more carbs. So it's not now able to access fat. Sustain energy all day, again, for all the reasons I already mentioned. Clearer skin. So we talk about hormone balance, because again, if you have the nutrient deficiency and insulin resistance together, and you reverse that using the fat adapted program, now your cells are powered properly. They're getting all the nutrients they need to function. So that means your thyroid will function well. Your everything else that has to deal with hormones will function well, because you're well nourished, right? And that's actually one of the reasons why I noticed I was never, if there's guys listening right now, please excuse me, but I was never regular on my periods ever, until I switched to this way of eating. And now it's like right on clock, you know, on time every month, which is great. And I used to break out a lot, and I don't have any more of those problems anymore as well. So many more benefits. So if you're thinking of eating this way, how would you change? How would your meals look like? So for breakfast, I would eat something like maybe 2 pieces of bacon, 2 pieces of eggs, you know, scrambled or over easy or over hard or whatever. And then maybe I'll have like a avocado on the side or some fat coffee, which is kind of my favorite to start my day with. Sometimes if I'm not hungry, I'll put grass-fed butter and coconut oil and blend it in coffee. And it actually tastes good. Some people, oh, you put butter in your coffee. Actually is really good. It's a great way to put healthy fats in your body first thing in the morning. And if you blend it, it creates like a foam on top and it tastes like cappuccino. And I'll add like a little stevia in there, a little cinnamon and a little vanilla extract, and I'm good to go. I have like a vanilla cappuccino, right? For sometimes if I want to get fancy, I'll eat pancakes. I can make this ahead of time, freeze it, defrost it in the toaster oven or the microwave, either one you prefer. I've found a great recipe for biscuits with a thing called Carb, which is basically still made out of wheat, but a friend of mine who's a nutritionist who has a glucose monitor attached to her, she eats Carb and her blood sugar doesn't spike. So I know that it's good, and it's, you know, even though it has wheat, it still doesn't stimulate the insulin response. For lunch or dinner, I might have a chicken buffalo soup. It's a slow cooker recipe. The soup is made of creamy, heavy cream with some cream cheese. And then I put some blue cheese on top, and chicken thighs is the meat that's on there, and then I'll put Frank's Red Hot on top. This is like a cheeseburger that I got from Muya. And it just is so good. Even without the bun, like I have all the flavors of the cheeseburger, right? Meatball and spaghetti. There's a ketogenic recipe that's for meatballs, and then I make my own sauce. And then I put shirataki noodles as my spaghetti, or sometimes I'll also use zucchini noodles, which is a great alternative. And then barbecue chicken pizza. This is probably one of my favorite, as far as it's as close to the real thing as possible as far as thin crust pizza. You know, there's like chicken on there, there's bacon, green onions, some caramelized onions. It's just so yummy. Like every time my husband took a bite, like, oh, this is good. Like he can't believe that it's actually low carb and fat adapted. So once you're fat adapted, if you're not that kind of person who's busy, you can't eat 5 to 6 meals a day, this will be perfect for you, because you only eat when you're hungry and you stop when you're full. You don't need to eat every 2 to 3 hours. Now, to get into ketosis, it takes about 1 to 2 weeks. It took me 3 days, and I put together a meal plan that will help you get into ketosis as fast as you can, so you can feel the benefits. And that's a meal plan I designed. And if you have my book, it's that meal plan is in that book. You'll know when you're fat adapted when you feel all the benefits that I just mentioned. You're energetic, you're not hungry as often, you're not craving carbs. If you have pain, you feel less pain or no pain at all. Just a lot of, and I can talk about story after story of people who have done this. I just can't think of one specific one right now, and I don't want it to make it too long. Now, I have been doing the Fat Adapted program for 8 months, and then a friend told me about a product called Keto OS. And she said, it's basically, it gets you in ketosis in an hour. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Sounds too good to be true. So she sent me a sample, and lo and behold, even though I was already in ketosis, it raised my ketone levels much higher to where I really felt a huge difference right away. I didn't have to like go through it for 3 days and go through the whole transition period. But anyway, it was really amazing. So I'm just letting you know so that you know that the product's available and you can take advantage of it if that's something that you're looking for. And it's a great addition to anyone's meal plan, really, even if you're not doing a ketogenic diet. I give it to my kids, right? Because we're born into ketosis. Ketones are great for the kids because it also balances their mood, right? Usually they get cranky because they're tired or they're hungry. And it's really the fastest way to feel the benefits of pure therapeutic ketones. So if you're like, how does ketosis feel like? You can feel in an hour just by drinking ketones. It's just a powder that you drink and you mix with water. It comes in orange dream, chocolate swirl, and fruit punch, which are all good, but my favorite, personal favorite is chocolate. So really, it's a new perspective. We've been conditioned to believe that fats are bad for our health. So it's just kind of flipping that switch, and it's like, wait, is that even true? Is our fat really the enemy? So you just kind of like think about this. And now that you are well informed, you can do your research and, you know, look at the facts and what's out there. So really what I'm finding is research shows that sugars and carbs is what's causing all the chronic diseases, like I mentioned, from type 2 diabetes to high cholesterol to high blood pressure to cancer even, right? Research now shows that when you become fat adapted, most of those symptoms go away. And I've heard, again, lots of anecdotal stories. So stories from clients that I've gone through the program, and they tell me the same thing. So here's a story. What's her name? Michelle. She is a client of mine who had to stop going to work out because her toe started hurting. And I said, hey, have you thought about the fat adapted program? And I'm like, it might be good for you. It might make your pain go away. And now she's back to working out. After she did the program for 6 weeks, the first 3 weeks, her pain was completely gone, and now she's back to working out. So that's just one example. Again, you know, there are a lot of doctors actually and researchers that, or doctors mainly, that use the ketogenic diet to treat patients with cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, you name it. They will use it if it's something that, you know, you're open to doing. So for instance, for cancer cells thrive on sugar. So that means if you deprive cancer cells of sugar and you're now eating higher fats, that means you're depriving cancer cells of their main source of food. And so that means they will die. So some doctors will combine the ketogenic diet along with a high oxygen treatment, because cancer cells don't like oxygen either. So obviously a lot of people use that for Alzheimer's, actually for epilepsy as well, because epilepsy is something with the brain, right? So again, because their brains are getting energy, they're functioning much better. So I just urge you to investigate and do your own research and see what you find. I think you'll find that it's, you know, what you're gonna find as far as research is amazing, and it's just getting started, right? So strength training, I want to put this on there because if you're looking to manage your blood sugar, which means manage your insulin, you have to have muscle, right? Muscles store glycogen, basically is carbs, stored carbs in your muscles. So it's another way to remove sugar from your body. And after the age of 35, we lose half to 1% of muscle mass each year. And this is why when we age, you know, the simple task of like putting our bag in the overhead compartment on the plane gets hard because we're losing that strength in upper body. I mean, just overall, you know, where gravity is taking over, where our posture is getting bad because we don't have that muscle strength to, you know, hold our posture, right? So it's actually critical not only to removing sugar from your system, but also as a critical part of a healthy lifestyle as you age. If you want to age well, you got to keep as much muscle and develop as much muscle as possible. And don't worry if you're a woman and, you know, you're worried that you're going to look big. Most of the women who look big and have tons of muscles are usually on steroids. I'm not saying all of them are, but it's really hard for a woman to gain muscle. Believe me. I've been weight training for quite some time. So if you don't already have a copy of this, please go ahead and let me know in the chat box and I'll send it to you after the webinar. And then if you're looking to maybe do this, but you don't want to do it on your own, we're doing a fat adapted 90-day transformation contest. And it starts January 23rd, so it's this coming Monday. And basically anyone who lives in the United States and maybe Canada may participate. I'll be providing a 12-week meal plan for you using the ketogenic diet, along with that meal plan that got me into ketosis really fast, with online workout videos that you can do from home or anywhere you are. If you're traveling, you can do it at the gym, at your hotel room or the gym at the hotel. If you'd like to participate in the contest, you'll be required to send your before and after pictures. And I'll send you more details on that once you're registered. But you don't have to participate in the contest if you just want guidance or accountability and support around the program. You can still obviously do the program without sending in your before and after pictures. So the prices, which is awesome, is first prize is $500, second prize is $250, and the third prize is $150. So it's really cool. It's just, if you want to do this and you want to also win some money as extra motivation, then even better, right? This is why I do it that way. So regular price is $197. The early bird discount ended yesterday, but I'm extending it to everyone who's on the webinar today to just $97, which basically you save 50%. Again, I'm extending it until tonight. And then you can enter the contest, you get the meal plan and the workout videos as well. I'm sorry, I should have put my phone on silent. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and post the link that is in here. Hold on real quick. And let me know if you can see it. Okay. So it should pop up. If you're on your desktop, it should pop up on the right side. And if you have any questions, you may feel free to post it on the chat box and I'll answer it right now. Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. I love that you participate. Awesome. Let me know if you have any questions and I'll answer them right now. And I see some people had problems uploading the site, so we didn't have as many people as I expected. So I'll wait here for a couple of minutes until, because I know there's a delay in the chat box and typing and all of that. So I'm just gonna wait for a little bit. All right. I'll wait one more minute for that question to come up. If you guys are typing, I'm patient. All right, Stephanie, do you have any questions? Let me know. Here are some questions that tend to come up. You know, if I have a heart issue or something, you know, is this a good thing for me? Definitely, for all the reasons I already mentioned. So I just urge you to try it and really experience the difference for yourself. And feel how it is to be in ketosis, because you just never know what kind of results you experience unless you actually do it right. So thank you, Stephanie, for letting me know. So if I don't get to your question today because you know, I'm ending it before you're able to type, just go ahead and reply to the email where you got the reminders for. And I can reply there. You can also connect with me at facebook.com/The Sugar Rebel. You can message me there directly, and I'm usually there during the day to answer questions. And yeah, I think that's it. If this is something that you think you'd like to take advantage of, I look forward to working with you on January 23rd, which is this coming Monday. Thank you again for coming and for your time spending with me on a Tuesday night. Have a great night and Happy New Year. Bye, guys.